If you're just starting to manage projects, or you're part of a team that's juggling sticky notes, emails, and spreadsheets, well, Trello might be your perfect next step. It's visual, simple, and ridiculously easy to get started with, which is why so many teams love it. But simplicity has its limits. So the real question is, can Trello scale with your team, or will you outgrow it when things get serious? In this video, we'll take a deep dive into Trello, how it works, where it shines, and where it falls short. We'll walk through its project management features, automation and integrations, pricing, and what kind of team it's really built for. Hey there, I'm Alex Knowles from softwarefinds.com, where we help you find the tools that actually fit what your business needs. We are building a library of hands-on reviews designed to cut through the fluff and show you how software performs in real life, so you can make smarter decisions and save your business both money and time. In this video, we're diving into how Trello stacks up for project management, not just what it does, but how it feels to actually manage your projects. So let's dive in. When you log in, you're presented with the home screen. And this gives us your recent boards, starred projects, and workspaces. Now, the workspaces, these act as your folders or your hubs for your boards, your members, where your work gets done. But here's something you might not expect. We can see we've got an embedded section here, which encourages you to level up with Jira. And honestly, I'd forgive you if you didn't realize that this was a plugin product ad. It's a subtle but a clear nudge from Atlassian, which owns both Trello and Jira, that, hey, Trello might not be enough for serious project work, and here we've got Jira. So while Trello keeps the interface simple and friendly, this kind of push raises fair questions about how far the tool can actually take you before you hit limits. That said, if your needs are light and you don't need complex project management or pipelines, well, Trello might be the perfect fit for you. But let's take a second to understand how Trello is organized. Now, unlike other platforms with complex hierarchies, nested subtasks, and folders, Trello keeps things lightweight. Workspaces sit at the top. They act like team hubs. Boards, well, these represent your projects or workflows. And inside boards, you'll find lists, usually used to track stages like to do, doing, and done. And within each cards, the actual tasks or items of work. Here we are in a non-profit project management board. We've got our cards and our lists. Now we can drag our cards across lists, like say we've completed a task in to-do, it needs to be reviewed, it's pending, it's blocked, or it's done. However, we'll notice that we've also got lists for our project resources. How to get started with Trello. This is a template. I'll make sure to leave in the description of this video a link to check out those templates you can get started with. And we've also got questions for next meeting. So we're containing the entirety of our management for this nonprofit organization in a Trello board. And that just is going to cause chaos. And the limit is how Trello handles subtasks. Now, it doesn't directly have parent-child task dependencies or relationships. You can include a checklist field that allows you to create subtasks. However, while you can assign those to a particular member, this doesn't actually directly affect what occurs on the parent task or the card. I see a bunch of people on forums and Reddit stating that you can use checklists with power-ups to achieve this functionality. Power-ups are similar to ClickUp's ClickApps or Monday's Marketplace, optional tools and connections you enable to extend the core capabilities. For example, you could use a checklist inside a card as a basic subtask list, but while this isn't connected to your flow, you could convert those checklist items into linked cards using a power-up. Or you could use the dependency power-up to link tasks together so that one cannot start until the other is complete. These add-ons do give Trello a surprising amount of flexibility. However, when we compare it to the already pre-existing native functionality of apps like ClickUp or Airtable, it just doesn't compare. And here's another trade-off. With more power-ups that you're relying on, well, this means it's more of a custom build, therefore extra time spent, extra upkeep, and sometimes extra cost. Bottom line, Trello's hierarchy is clean and easy to use. When you combine it with power-ups, you can mimic more advanced project management structure, but it's clearly not built to achieve that. Now let's take a look at how Trello handles project work. This is where the simplicity really shines because it's so easy for teams to get started. However, as we saw with our previous template, people are also relying on lists to include resources, guides, and helpful content. Boards themselves represent projects, lists are the stages or the categories if we are considering including resources, and cards are tasks or deliverables. Now, each card can include descriptions, checklists, files, members, due dates, labels, comments, and more. So you and your crew can collaborate and communicate directly on a task. On a paid tier, you'll be able to unlock custom fields, so you can go beyond the usual dates, assignees, checklists, etc. And we'll quickly take a look at fields that we can create, we've got checkbox, date, dropdown, number, and text. Unfortunately, although we do know Trello is simple, we don't have a formula or a calculation field there. Now, I have to reiterate that Trello is definitely not designed nor built for task dependencies, milestones, or sprint planning, unless you layer on power-ups, but still, it's definitely not the best choice if you are looking for that functionality. Trello does offer a calendar view and basic timeline, which is available on Premium and up, but you won't find native Gantt charts or workload management tools like you would in Smartsheet, ClickUp, or even Asana. And when it comes to the way that you can visualize and manage your tasks, well, we've got the usual Kanban board view, but we've also got table, calendar, dashboard, timeline, and map. Now, unfortunately, there's no Gantt chart offered, which is something that we would expect to see on more advanced project management platforms. Now, let's see how Trello can help you to save time and connect with your other tools through automations and integrations. Now, before we take a deeper look into the other features and functionality of Trello, we do want to mention power-ups again. These could be considered extensions of functionality and capabilities of the platform. Very similar to Monday's Marketplace, Airtable extensions, or ClickUp's ClickApps, power-ups enable you to plug in functionality for your Trello project management. So here we can see that we've extended the functionality of Trello using a smart field. We're able to determine time tracking for each of our projects using a formula function, very similar to how you would in an Excel spreadsheet. However, the issue is that Trello isn't directly connected to that smart field. So when we talk about task dependencies and linked projects and boards, well, we're going to run into issues relying on smart fields or on Trello's power-ups. Now, beyond extending the functionality of your Trello platform, power-ups also enable you to connect with the rest of your tech stack. So let's say, for instance, that you wanted to connect your Trello project management to Salesforce, so your project management team and your sales team could work collaboratively. Well, it's available as a power-up, and currently it doesn't look like it's going to cost you any extra. Now, moving on from the views that change the way you can visualize your tasks and your projects, we've also got the inbox and the planner. Inbox enables you to bring tasks in from elsewhere from the rest of your tech stack. You can use the Trello app, your Gmail, Outlook, you could use Google Chrome, Slack, or Microsoft Teams. Whenever you need a task added to your project management board, well, you can send it to Trello and then you can drag it in from here onto a list. We've also got the planner, which enables you to connect directly to your calendar, Google Calendar, or Outlook. And from here, of course, you can bring in your scheduled events and take a look at your work for the day. You could actually bring your cards over from your Trello board into your inbox or planner, but it doesn't make sense to work in that way. So here we have a government project management board. Within it, we've got plenty of lists and tasks. Again, we're using a list for our resources, requirements, objectives, and questions. And then we've got the usual project pipeline: to do, pending, roadblocks, and done. Now, you can access automations from your board by selecting the icon here. However, unfortunately for this theme of this board, we can't really see the options that we have here. We can see power-ups, which we talked about, automations, filtering our cards, any normal filter, depending on the person, the date. We've also got the change visibility, which enables us to change who can view this. But we're going to jump into automations, and from there, we're going to select rules, which will open up the automated workflow builder. So like with any automated workflow, we know that we have our trigger event that kicks off the automation. So within Trello, this can be anything from when a card is added to a certain board, created, email, moved from board to board, or moved from list to list. We can also include that when a list is created, renamed, archived, unarchived, or if the list name matches. There's actually quite a lot that we can do with trigger events here in Trello, which is surprising being that it's such a simple platform. We can also then change up and go into advanced filtering, branching, and conditional logic directly in Butler, which is what they call their automation product. So I'm just going super simple for this use case. For the example video, I've got that when a card is added to the board by me, that's another one. You can actually filter this depending on which assigned member is triggering the event. And then we've got the action. And from here, we can move cards, lists, tasks. We can add or remove. We can change dates, checklists, members, content, fields, sort, cascades. We can also implement things to occur in Jira, Bitbucket, and Slack. It's strange to me that we're able to connect directly to our Gmail and Outlook, but we can't have emails sent out from the automations. Within those automated workflows, we can set up multi-step actions For instance, we could move a card, assign a member, make another member subscribe to, and notify our team in Slack. Now, that is the rules example. Rules automations. We've got 3 types of automations within Trello. We've got the rules based, which we just discussed. We've also got scheduled, which enables us to set an automation on a particular day or hour or week. So for instance, we could do every day at 8:55 or every third Wednesday of the month or every year on a specific date. Then we can set up the same actions that we saw in rules automations. We've also got due date, and this enables us to have things happen automatically when a project or a card meets its due date. Similar to what you would expect within rules, but for some instance, they've separated that into its own category. Beyond that, we've also got card buttons and board buttons. Now, these are similar to the functionality of buttons in Airtable, where we can trigger things to occur in-app and external through webhooks or connections with Slack and Gmail. Perhaps you want to open a resource, a link, but you also have the ability to archive all cards in a list, prioritize specific lists, or shuffle your deck. Beyond that, we've also got the ability to connect with some apps natively. We can connect with Jira, Bitbucket, and Slack. Now, we do remember earlier that we could bring in our inbox, and that's connecting with Gmail, Microsoft Teams, but we can't actually have things occur in those other apps. We can only bring in data from them. And that's where Power-Ups come back in. Yes, you only see the option to connect with those few apps there, but you can rely on Power-Ups to connect with the rest of your tech stack. So again, jumping into that Power-Up marketplace, we would search for instance QuickBooks. And here we can see that we can enable a time tracking connection on it. So while you can connect to your other apps, let's say, for instance, we want to manage our employee payments through Xero, jump into that. We can use it to, again, add time directly to our projects from a card. So again, it's just a time tracking functionality. We can't actually create an invoice or a new payroll sequence. Instead, you might have to rely on an automation tool like Zapier or Make. If we jump into Zapier, we can see what we have available for Trello's trigger events. Now, we saw that there was quite an extensive list of those available in Trello already, so we can expect the same functionality here in Zapier. New card, new board, new activity, card due, quite a lot. And when we take a look at what actions we have available that we can trigger in Trello from Zapier, we can add attachments, checklists, labels, members. It's quite an extensive list. Again, copy cards, copy boards, create lists, remove labels, update cards, find actions, find members, and so on. So quite an extensive functionality through Zapier, and something that definitely far exceeds what you're going to be able to achieve with both native automations, Butler, as well as the Power-Ups added functionality. Trello does offer dashboards, which are ways that you can better visualize your project management and tasks, but it really doesn't add any value to the platform. You'll get simple widgets like number cards, due date, cards per member, but that's about as far it goes. Once again, there's no native time tracking, there's no resource allocation metrics. Instead, you're going to have to look at Power-Ups, or I would suggest looking at a completely different platform if these are necessary things for you. And of course, I better mention that dashboards is a feature locked behind the higher paid tiers. Now, like any other project management tool, Trello offers a mobile app. And again, it's super simple like the platform itself. You've got that same Kanban board style view. You're able to pull your tasks across, and beyond that, you're able to open them, view more details like your members, your start date, your due date. You can comment and collaborate on them. And beyond that, you're also able to filter your boards. You can also still access your Power-Ups directly from the Trello mobile app, enabling calendar view, card aging, lists, and voting. And when it comes to viewing your specific tasks, well, you can rely on that filtering option to filter those cards. Like I said, you can also access your Power-Ups, and it's from here that you can quickly add tasks to your Trello board. For instance, update client, we'll quickly add that as a task. And if we were to jump back onto our desktop, we'd be able to see that over there in the inbox and then drag it over into our board, which is very strange for me. I should be able to just directly bring that into the board itself. It makes no sense for us to add it to an inbox and then it show up on our desktop and pull it over. I can understand when we're on our mobile out and about, we want to email a task to Trello, but hey, again, I guess we could just simply add it to our Trello app. So let's jump in and take a look at how much Trello is going to cost you and which pricing plan is best suited to you and your business's needs. Now, we've got the free plan, which actually is a freemium model. It's quite a generous model. You get unlimited cards, up to 10 boards per workspace, basic automations, but with limits, and you get one power up per board. So those power ups we mentioned for solo users or small teams, that might be all that you need. However, there definitely is limitation, and it's a very simple project management tool at the free plan. Once you start scaling up, you'll want more boards, more automation, more integration, more flexibility and functionality. And you'll quickly bump up to one of those other pricing plans. Now we've got the standard, which unlocks unlimited boards, advanced checklists, and removes the power up limits. The premium, that enables that dashboard view, which we aren't a huge fan on. You've got timeline, calendar, table views all offered. And then you've got more powerful automation capabilities. The enterprise plan, well, that's designed for larger organizations, those with more advanced administrative controls, unlimited workspaces, SSO, and high security. And you can see that $17.50 per user per month. The enterprise plan is actually at the lower end scale of other platform pricing models like ClickUp or Airtable. Now, the most important things to note, the must-have features here, reporting, multiple views, or more advanced automations, are only accessible under that premium plan. So you are going to be paying $10 USD per user per month to actually get the full functionality and value of Trello as a project management platform. Now, while power-ups themselves are flexible and functional, some of those best ones come with their own pricing. So you're going to be paying a price to use that functionality on top of what you are already paying with your Trello subscription. So those costs can quickly creep up. And again, it makes you wonder if it's worth paying for power-ups when you already get that functionality native in other project management tools like Smartsheet, ClickUp, Airtable, the list goes on. So the bottom line here is that Trello can be free forever, but really that's only going to work for a very small team with minimal functionality needed or a freelancer or solo user. Now, I do want to quickly mention the automation limitations because you do have credits or quota capped here. On the free plan, you've got 250 command runs. So you have 250 automations, you're done. Standard 1,000, premium 1,500, and enterprise 2,000 plus. It depends on the size. We need to think about how many tools we can connect to without needing power-ups and without needing to pay for more functionality. And quickly, if we do take a look at the enterprise pricing again, depending on how many people you need access to will reflect how much you're going to cost per user per month. Now, something that I do want to mention is that we can't actually differentiate between a monthly or annual pricing model. I do know that they offer both, but we won't be able to see any of that until we actually go through the billing and payment process. I also do want to mention that you get access to a 14-day free trial of the premium plan so you can see if that works for you and your team on top of that already free plan. So here comes the most important part of this video. Who is Trello suited for? Trello is ideal for individuals, small teams, and growing businesses who want a simple, visual way to organize work without the overhead of a full project management system. If your team thrives on visual structure and you just want to track tasks, collaborate, and keep things moving, then Trello is an easy win. No onboarding sessions, no complex setup. Just create a board, create tasks, and go. Trello is simply not designed nor built for more advanced, complex project management. So it's probably not the right tool if you need multi-level task hierarchies, dependency management, advanced reporting, large portfolios, or structured governance. But Trello definitely shines when you need something simple. But if you're feeling boxed in or piling on add-ons just to meet your project needs, well, it's time to look for an alternative like ClickUp, Asana, or Smartsheet. And if you're still on the fence, well, you can try Trello's free trial of the premium plan to get started today. I've left a link in the video below. But if you are still wondering which project management tool or business tool you should adopt for your unique business's needs, don't hesitate to head over to softwarefinds.com, where we're building a library of tool reviews and comparisons to help you navigate the fluff.